There she is. We've been waiting for like 2 hours. All right, you all set? Good? Okay. All right, let's go back on the record. The record will reflect the presence of all jurors, all counsel, and Mr. Winslow are present. All right, Mr. Owens, you can call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The people now call Summer Foster.
All right. And I'll direct any media that's present not to film her face, including still photography. All right? So from the neck down. You can use her name, yes.
If I could ask you to step forward and raise your right hand. Right there is fine. You do solemnly state that the testimony you are about to give in the matter now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
If you would, please have a seat at the witness stand. And if you would, please state your name and spell your first and last name for the record.
My name is Summer Foster, Foster,
Thank you.
All right, good morning, Ms. Foster.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for allowing me to come in.
Well, there's a couple of cameras in the courtroom. I want you to know that they have been ordered not to show your face, okay?
Okay.
And the attorneys have some questions for you. We're going to start first with Mr. Owens.
Alrighty.
All right, direct examination, Mr. Owens.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Foster, I'm going to show you an exhibit, and if I can alert the media to the display of the exhibit, Your Honor. It's been marked and identified as Court's Exhibit 1.
Okay.
Looking at the TV monitor, do you recognize this woman?
Yes, that's my mother.
How old are you?
I am 26.
Can you describe first, do you live in the North County area of San Diego?
Yes, I live in Carlsbad.
Do you live with your mother?
I do not.
Roughly how old is your mother, if you know?
45, 46.
Uh,
We're 14 years? No, she was 29 when she had me, so she's 24, yeah, 46, I think.
So doing the math, she was 29 when she had you. Is she in her mid-50s?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Okay. Are you a little bit nervous being in court?
Definitely, I've never been to court before. This is weird.
Okay, so just take a moment. I'm going to ask you some questions about what you know about your mother and some of the things that you shared with us, okay?
Okay.
In terms of your relationship with your mother, if she did not live with you, how often would you speak to her?
We speak on the phone almost every day. She usually calls me. I don't call her.
Why do you say it like that?
She's really hard to get a hold of usually.
In March of 2018, were you in regular contact with your mother?
Yes, I was.
Do you recall St. Patrick's Day, March 17th of 2018?
Yes, I do.
Did you talk to your mother that day?
Yes, I had worked earlier that day, and I was going to take the bus to Chili's to meet my husband. My mother and I spoke on the phone.
And do you remember what time of day, or was it, early in the morning, afternoon, evening, do you recall?
It was sometime in the afternoon because I had worked that day, but I know I got off early because I was able to go to dinner.
When you talked to your mother that day, what was the nature of that conversation?
She was upset because someone, one of my family members, was bothering her at the house. So she was telling me that she was going to leave the house and wanted to either go shopping, walk around. She was very stressed out though. And if at the time I had a car, I would have given her a ride.
In terms of what she told you she was planning to do, did she say what part of town she planned to go shopping or hang around?
The 101, she goes there often.
And that 101 area that you're referring to, would that be in the city of Encinitas?
Yes, pretty much between Encinitas Boulevard and Swami's. That's where she usually hangs out.
Is that in Swami's in the south end of the city of Encinitas on Coast Highway?
Correct.
And the 101 would be on Coast Highway, is that right?
Yes.
When you talked to her about what her plans were, have any further conversation that evening other than that initial phone conversation?
No.
When was the next time that you saw your mother?
She called me asking me to come over the next day, so I did.
What time, so if we're talking about the next day from St. Patrick's Day, are we talking about March 18th of 2018?
Correct.
What time of day did she call you, if you remember?
I'm not sure.
When she said that she needed you to come over, what did she tell you she needed you to do?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled, subject to a motion to strike. I'll hear the answer. Go ahead.
She didn't specify over the phone.
Can you just describe her tone or her demeanor when she asked you to come over?
No, I'm unfamiliar with what her demeanor was over the phone.
Okay. Was it just a normal phone call as far as you could tell?
Yes, she tells me to come over pretty often. She's vague.
Did you go to her home?
Yes, I went to my grandparents' house. That's where she lives.
You mentioned that there's a family member who had bothered her the day before. Are there other family members besides your mother who live in the home with your grandparents?
Yes, there's quite a few.
Now, in terms of March 18th, when you went over to your grandparents' home, tell us what happened.
So my mom asked me to come into her room
Objection,
and
hearsay.
That statement is not hearsay. The court will allow it. Next, you can go on.
so my mother asked me to go into her room and what she wanted to discuss was she asked me about,
Hearsay.
Overruled, subject to a motion to strike. I'll hear the answer. Go ahead.
she asked me about STD testing because she knows that I've been tested.
Objection, speculative.
Overruled.
She asked me about STD testing and I let her know that Planned Parenthood, you could do it for free and it's confidential.
Ms. Foster, when you were having that conversation with her on March 18th, did you see any items of clothing in your mother's bedroom?
Yes, when you walk straight into her room, the door opens and it always gets stuck on her laundry basket. That's to the right, and on top of the pile of the laundry basket, there was a pair of white pants.
In terms of your familiarity with your mother, had you ever seen those pants before?
Yes, I have. She wears white pants pretty often.
Did you notice anything about the white pants that were on the top of the laundry basket on March 18th?
They were stained with blood.
Did you see where there was blood on the pants?
It was in the crotch area.
Did you ask your mother about that?
I did, but the way I phrased it was, "Oh, you ruined your pants." And what she replied was, "Yeah, I'm on the rag."
Objection, hearsay, move to strike.
Overruled comes in as a prior inconsistent statement.
Thank you, Your Honor. And when she said that to you, did you ask her any further questions?
No.
When was the next time that you had contact with your mother after March 18th?
It was either the following day or the day right after that. So it was the 19th or the 20th. It was right in there.
How was it that you spoke to your mother on the 19th or the 20th?
She had called me and asked me that she wanted me to look something up for her on the computer.
Is that something that she would regularly ask you to do, help with the computer?
Yes, she does that all the time because she's not familiar with technology.
Did she give you any other details or reason why she needed you to look something up on the computer, at least initially on the phone?
No, not on the phone.
Did you go to help her?
Yes, I did.
Tell us what happened when you went to help her now on the following days, either the 19th or the 20th, as you best recall.
She had asked me to look up the phone number for the Encinitas Sheriff's Department.
And did you do that for her?
Yes, I did.
Did you ask her why she needed you to look up the phone number for the Encinitas Sheriff's Department?
Yes, at this point, I was a little concerned because of the STD testing mentioned a few days before. So I asked her if everything was okay, and she said, "Yes, I was attacked, but I'm going to file a police report."
Did you ask her any additional questions about that?
No, I did not.
After she told you that she was attacked and was going to file a police report, why didn't you ask her any questions?
Because I knew she wouldn't answer them.
What do you mean by that?
My mom is not,
Objection is speculative, it's improper vouching.
Your Honor, goes
Oh,
to,
overruled on both grounds. Go ahead, you can answer, and you can cover it on cross. Go ahead.
my mom is very difficult, and when I ask her personal questions, we always end up in arguments. So to avoid an argument in this situation, I did not ask further questions.
other than her telling you that she had been attacked and was going to file a police report, did you have any other conversations with her about what happened prior to her calling you and asking for your help?
No,
Now, as of last week, had you had any conversations with your mother about anything that may have happened to her on St. Patrick's Day? Other than the initial discussion we just talked about?
yes, when I saw on the news her testimony the next morning, so that was Wednesday morning, I went over to her house and she took me to get gas, and the way I phrased it was, "So Mom, I saw you on TV yesterday," and she denied it.
So let me ask you about what you just mentioned. First of all, right now, are you employed?
I am not.
Are you expecting?
Yes, I am.
Objection. It's not relevance.
Is to, which, the last question, whether she's expecting or not, sustained, the motion, or you have an offer of proof?
Only as it relates to what she was doing at the time that she learned of the incident.
Relevance.
All right.
Objection, relevance.
The objection is sustained. The answer as to whether or not she was expecting will be stricken. The jury will disregard it. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Were you at home last week?
Yes, the whole week.
Okay. Now, in terms of Tuesday, were you watching TV?
Yes, I was.
When you mentioned that you saw something on the news, what do you recall seeing on the news last Tuesday?
It was the evening news, and it was just a short clip of the trial and my mother's testimony, so I immediately went on my phone to look up what was happening.
Prior to last Tuesday, did you have any idea that your mother was involved in a sexual assault prosecution?
I did not.
When you were watching the news that day, how did you know that your mother was involved?
Because she speaks in a very distinctive tone, and her body language and her little braid that she had, she wears her hair like that all the time.
Did you see the news coverage that actually showed testimony from your mother in this trial?
Yes, I did.
What were you thinking when you saw that your mother was involved in this prosecution?
I was angry that she didn't let me know what was going on, because I would have been here every single day standing by her, and
Objection, relevance.
Overruled. You can continue.
I would have come forward with my information sooner had I known that she was involved in court at all.
Now, you mentioned that after seeing that on the news, you then went to your phone and tried to get more information. Did you do that?
Yes, I did.
Do you remember what information you were able to locate, meaning the sources of information that you then found on the internet?
There were multiple news articles, but where I was able to watch her actual full testimony was on the Court TV website.
Did you in fact watch the entirety of your mother's testimony? Or what was shown?
Yes, what was shown.
And do you know whether or not that was all of it or not?
I don't know if it was all of it.
Now, so this happened on Tuesday evening. Did you try to reach out to your mother that night?
No, I didn't.
Why not?
Honestly, I was in so much shock, and I was having so many different emotions that I knew that I would see her the next day, so I just let myself spiral and dwell on it and stay up all night.
When you talked to her about it the next day, did you try to let her know how this had impacted you?
Objection, relevance.
Overruled, I'll allow it.
I didn't say anything about how I was feeling, but I was crying and being very aggressive towards her because I am a very emotional person.
When you talked to her about it, did she deny that she had been the person who testified?
Yes, she did deny it.
What did you do after that conversation with your mother?
We got donuts, and then I dropped her off at Walmart, and then I went home and I called you.
How were you able to find my contact information?
I saw your name on the Court TV website, and I looked up Dan Owens, District Attorney.
And did you in fact leave a voicemail for me around noon of last Wednesday?
Yes.
And did an investigator from the district attorney's office, and Chris Phelan, did he contact you immediately that afternoon?
Yes, he did.
And did he meet with you and record his interview with you?
Yes, he did.
Was the first time that you and I met in person actually this past Friday?
I believe so.
Was it just a couple days ago?
Yeah, it was a couple days ago.
Now, in terms of the information that you learned from the internet, without getting into what you actually read, based upon your knowledge of your mother and how it is that you relate to her, was the fact that she never told you about this, was that a surprise to you?
No.
Why not?
Objection, relevance.
Overruled.
She's, I don't like saying this because it's my mom, but she's extremely paranoid to the point where she doesn't trust the people closest to her. And so just for the sake of her own boundaries, I try not to push her.
Is that why you never asked her any more questions when she said she was going to file a report about being attacked?
Yes, and then also, no offense to the police department, but I really didn't think this was gonna go anywhere.
Objection.
What's the objection? What's the legal grounds?
It's non-responsive.
Overruled, the answer will stand.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, I just have a quick question. There was an order not to show your mother's face on TV. Did you see her face on TV?
No, I saw her little braid and I heard her voice.
Okay, so it was a shot from the neck down,
Yeah.
correct? And you heard her voice?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. All right. All right, cross-examination.
Yeah, your mom is extremely paranoid.
Yes, she is.
Extremely paranoid. I mean, you use those terms.
Yes, she's extremely paranoid.
Worried about people, you know.
Yeah, she doesn't.
strangers.
She doesn't have any friends.
Doesn't have any friends,
No.
right? And she's worried about strangers, apparently.
She's worried about strangers listening into her conversation. She's not worried about strangers talking to her.
Has your mom been treated? Is she being treated for any mental illness that you're aware
Objection,
of?
relevance to
All right, goes-
explanation and calls for speculation.
Sustained, you need not answer that question. Next question.
Let me ask you this: you saw your mom's testimony on TV, right?
Yes.
And it's your testimony that you never even suspected your mom was a alleged victim in this case, right?
I did not.
Right? And so you saw your mom on TV the night before, right?
Correct.
On the news, right?
Yes, correct.
And you saw her being cross-examined.
Yes.
Okay.
That was not on the news though. I saw that on Court TV separately when I looked it up.
Right, that's what I'm getting to. You saw your mom on the news. You had no question in your mind that was your mom, correct?
Correct.
And then you looked up things on the internet, right?
Correct.
About the case.
Yes.
You
I
read
wanted to know what was going on.
You read articles about what Mr. Winslow was accused of doing, correct?
Correct.
You read articles about, what his potential defenses were, I take it?
Yeah, yes, correct.
And you read articles about what some of the other victims may have said, correct?
Correct.
Right. And so, armed with that information, then you took the additional step and then you went to court TV, correct?
Correct.
And how did you know to go to court TV?
I'm not sure what you mean.
Who told you to go to court TV?
The internet?
The internet said go to court TV?
Well, I wanted to watch the testimony, and that's where it was available.
Okay, so you download the testimony, you got to watch your mom testify, right?
Correct.
In addition to that, there was, did you see the breaks where there's lawyers that are commenting on the testimony?
Yes, I did watch those.
And you no doubt watched those lawyers talk about how non-credible your mother was, right?
Yes, I did.
You saw some people saying about your mom being caught in lies. You saw that, right?
Yes, I am aware of that.
And you saw people commenting about how detrimental that testimony was to the prosecution. You saw that, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay, and that made you upset, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
Okay, because this is your mom, right?
Yes, it is.
But you saw that she clearly lied to this jury during her testimony. You saw that, didn't you?
Yes, she lied about her alcoholism.
Straight up, she said that she doesn't drink. Correct? You saw that?
Correct, I saw it.
She had
Wait,
drinking
just a
30
moment, just a moment. Let's slow down the pace. I just asked you to make sure she's finished with her answer before you ask the next question, just for the benefit of the court reporter. So go ahead.
She told this jury that she hadn't drank for 30 years. You saw that, right?
Yes,
That's a flat-out lie, isn't it?
it is.
You saw your mom take an oath to tell the truth.
Objection argumentative.
Cross-examination.
Overruled.
You saw that, right?
Yes,
Right? To tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
yes,
So help me God. Correct?
correct.
And then she looked at this jury and lied. Yes?
Yes, about her alcoholism.
She told this jury that she was going to go down to the 101 to go shopping that day. Remember that?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And you said that, that she's made some similar comment to you about walking down to the 101. Yes? Is
Yes,
that what she does normally?
that is what she does almost every day.
Okay. She goes walking.
Yes. She does not drive, and a lot of the time she refuses to take the bus.
And when you say she hangs out, what does she do down there, if you know?
She goes shopping. She likes to shop and look around.
Where?
Flashbacks, Thrifty Threads. There's other small boutiques down there that she likes to check out, Detour, things like that.
Did you ask her whether she, after you saw her, when she said that she was going to go shopping, did you ask her what she bought?
No, I did not.
So she regularly walks the streets of Encinitas, is what you're saying, correct?
Yes.
All right. And let me ask you this, does she hitchhike often?
I am not sure. She has never mentioned it.
I mean, it's something you might know as your daughter, right?
It would be if she had mentioned it, but she's not mentioned hitchhiking to me ever.
Ever. She mentioned being a victim of a kidnapping or actually a sexual assault as a result of kidnapping?
No, she used the words attacked.
No, in the past. Did she say that she's ever been assaulted after hitchhiking?
No, she has not said anything like that to me.
Never told you anything about that?
No.
Never related a story about her when she was like 12 years old being essentially picked up, kidnapped?
No,
Assaulted?
she's not said that to me before, ever. I don't know much about my mother's past at all.
Never asked her about your mother's past? Are you close? Let me strike that. Put that
Hang on,
somewhere.
one question at a
I
time.
know. That's why I stopped. I saw the court reporter looking at me.
Okay, next question.
Are you close to your mother?
We shared a room until I was 16. Yes, we are very close.
Okay. You're very close to your mother. You clearly love your mother,
I do.
right? And so one of your reasons for actually calling the district attorney just last week after having read the news, watched court TV, watched all the commentary, and then watched my cross-examination of your mother was because you were angry at what was happening to your mother, right?
Yes, I was upset.
Okay, so you have no way, other than what your mother told you, to verify anything what she's saying is true. Isn't that true?
Correct.
Right? You saw, just conveniently, there was a pair of white pants on top of the basket.
Objection argumentative.
Sustained, you can rephrase, you don't need to answer that question.
You-
Go ahead.
You walk by the laundry room and there
It wasn't the laundry room.
her bedroom?
Yes, it's in her bedroom.
And it was on top of all the dirty clothes were her white pants.
Correct.
Okay? And you said that it appeared to you like she had her period.
Correct. This has happened before. She has a heavy flow.
Okay. And you heard her testimony during the trial, right? Remember that?
Yes.
Where
I-
she said as a result of the sex, she was gushing blood. You remember that?
Yes.
And she said that she wasn't on her period. Remember that?
Yes.
And then later on cross-examination, she said she might have been on her period. Remember that?
Yes, I remember that.
Okay. And then she said from her earlier, she agreed that in earlier comments to police that she said she wasn't menstruating. Remember that?
Yes.
So when you told your mother, it looked, you know your mother, right?
Correct.
You said that you've seen your mother, I guess stain her pants before?
Yes.
So you-
I've also stained my pants before. It's a common thing that happens with women.
I'm asking you about your mother, not women, your mother. Do you understand me?
Yes, I do.
You've seen this happen before,
Yes.
right? And so you see the amount of stains they could leave, because she wears white pants, right?
Yes.
Have you seen her with the white pants before? Have you seen the stains on white pants before?
I have not seen stains on white pants before.
But in your mind, there was, when you saw the stained pants, it was consistent with having been menstruating,
Yes.
okay? And you told that to your mom, right? And
Yes.
she didn't deny it.
She did not deny it.
Did she say that that's what happened?
She was the one who said, "I'm on the rag," because I pointed out that she ruined her pants.
So then, the next day, by the way, when she said that she ruined her pants, she just kind of responded real quickly to you?
Yes.
She didn't think about, it didn't take her 10 minutes to respond, she just quickly said, no, that was it, right?
Yeah, that was it.
Okay. You had no reason to be concerned at all.
No, I did not.
Okay. So the next day, though, you said she calls you and that she needs some help getting on the computer.
Correct.
So as your testimony, your mom, who's 55 years old, has never used the computer?
She has used the computer, she's just bad at it.
Right, so you move an icon to Safari or to the internet. I'm assuming she can do that, right?
Yes, but
Okay.
poorly.
Right? She can put an icon on the internet. Yes or no?
Wait, do you understand the question? Putting an icon on the internet?
Like, move the mouse,
Right.
is that what he's saying?
With the arrow,
And click it,
click it, and you get the
yes.
Okay, so you're not telling this jury that she's never done that before, right?
She has done that before, yes.
Okay.
She has used a computer before.
And you've seen her on the keyboard,
Yes,
and she does know the alphabet.
yes,
So S, D, T, San Diego, is something that she could have done, right?
correct.
Right. But she needed your help.
Yes, she did.
Same thing with the San Diego County Sheriff. It's your testimony that she was unable to find that information herself and she had to call you to help.
I'm not sure why she asked me to, but yes, she asked me to look it up for her.
Okay. And your mom certainly knows that there is information on the phone. You would agree?
What do you mean on the phone?
Pick her phone up and ask for information.
No, I don't think she knows that.
But,
Like, are you saying like 411 or something?
or whatever, or even use her phone to get it.
She doesn't have a smartphone. She uses a flip phone.
All right. She knows certainly 911, right?
Yes,
We agree. All right. So, your mom, who's incapable of writing SDT, incapable of using the internet, calls you for help, and what do?
I look it up for her.
Okay.
We were in her room and I looked it up on my phone because the computer is in my grandparents' room.
Okay. And she told you to look up the sheriff's after she told you that she was attacked? Or was it?
No, I looked up the sheriff's department. I asked her what's going on and she said she was attacked and she's going to file a police report.
And then you said, Mom, what happened? Right?
No, I said, "Are you okay?" And she said, "Yes, I'm fine."
And then you said, Mom, what happened?
No, I didn't.
Okay, I mean, your mom, this is the person you're really close to, right?
Yes,
16 years living in one bedroom together, correct?
correct.
She's told you she's been attacked, right?
Yes.
And you don't have to say what happened?
No, I don't.
Okay. So you assist her in finding the number for the police, right?
Yes, for the specific Encinitas Sheriff's Department.
Let me ask you this, if your mom got attacked, why didn't you pick up the phone there and call the police yourself?
I'm not sure.
Okay, if your mom had all these issues, like you're saying, she's paranoid, she is non-communicative, why didn't you pick up the phone yourself and call the police? You.
Because I do not trust the police, which is what she has always taught me, because she is constantly getting arrested by the police.
So she's being harassed by the police? For what?
For her alcoholism, she gets in trouble a lot.
Okay. She gets in trouble for her alcoholism a lot?
Yes, when she gets drunk, she does not know how to talk to people, and she often gets into situations where the police are involved.
And by how often are you talking about? Quite a bit?
Usually it's around Christmas, because that's when her birthday is, and it's a hard time for her.
Okay. So you don't trust the police because they are arresting her for being intoxicated in public? That a pretty much fair statement?
Exactly.
But what does that have to do with trust? I mean, if she is intoxicated in public and they're effectuating arrest, why is it that you don't trust them?
Because I've seen the police arrest my mom numerous times. It's hard to trust people who take your mom away.
Okay. How many times have you seen your mom arrested?
Honestly, I don't know.
I mean, was it 5 times, 10 times, 20 times?
I can recollect twice.
Twice. Okay, and based on 2 arrests for your mom being intoxicated that you saw, right? These are things that you physically saw. Right?
Yes.
That's where you are basing your, I guess, impression that police are not to be trusted,
Correct.
all right? And for that reason, it is for that reason, I'm not talking about your mom, I'm talking about you. When your mom tells you that she had been attacked, you, because your mom had been arrested for being drunk in public before, and you've witnessed that, you decide that you're not going to follow up and call the police for her. Isn't that true?
Correct, because she told me that she was filing a police report.
Yeah, but you know your mom, you just told this jury that you know your mom was non-communicative, right? Communicative.
Correct.
And you said that she's paranoid.
Correct.
And now you said that she's also gets intoxicated, and sometimes, I mean, she gets intoxicated, right?
Correct.
She's an alcoholic by your own words.
Correct.
So you chose not to follow up. You let your mom do it, right?
Yes, I
Okay.
did.
Got it. So then you let it rest and you didn't follow up on any of that for months.
No, I never brought it up again until I saw her testify on TV.
Well, there was something else in between there, wasn't there?
Yes, she had mentioned to me during the summertime when I was going out, she had mentioned to me one night that I should be extra careful because a high school football player was released on bail.
Wasn't it more like there was a black pro football
Yeah.
player?
No, she did not use the word pro. She said black high school football player. And the reason why I remember it so specifically is because at D Street Bar that night, there was a young black man wearing a varsity jacket, and I thought it was coincidental.
You basically saw a black man and you thought.
In a varsity jacket,
Okay.
after my mother had said to me that a black high school football player had been released from jail, yeah.
Okay. Who was attacking women.
Who was attacking women, correct.
So your mom, but she specifically made sure that you understood it was a black player, right?
That's what she said,
And then
yes.
so you were in a bar and you remember that because you saw.
A black guy
The
with a
lone black
varsity
guy.
jacket,
Okay.
yeah.
Right. So then there's no more contact with your mother about this at all.
No,
She said nothing in between St. Patrick's Day of 2018, actually until you confronted her. She said nothing about this incident whatsoever.
no, she did not,
Right? In fact, when you even asked her whether that was her testifying, she denied it to you.
correct.
Right? Did you say, I saw you on TV?
Yes, I did.
And she still said no, it wasn't
She
me.
still said, no, it wasn't me.
Yeah. You said, but wait, I watched it on court TV. I watched your entire testimony for hours. You told her that, right?
No, I did not.
All right, you said you saw her testimony. I
Yes,
take it.
I called her out and said that I saw her on TV,
Right. And she still denied it.
and she denied it.
And then, once again, we're going back to you downloaded the testimony, you got to watch it, and what you said was you were very upset, couldn't sleep, right?
Correct.
You couldn't sleep because says you said you didn't call your mom, you got emotional, you went spiral downward, you stayed up all night.
Correct.
Right? Just thinking about this, right?
Yes, correct.
So you were thinking about her being cross-examined, right? You
Yes.
were thinking about her being called a liar by me.
No, that was not what I was
That
thinking
wasn't-
about.
You weren't upset about that?
Yes, I was upset, but that wasn't what I was focused on.
You were upset at her testimony being ridiculed, or actually not ridiculed, but basically commented on for being unreliable.
Yes, that is what I was upset about.
Hugely upset about it. Yes? Very upset about it.
Yes.
Upset enough to lose sleep over it, right?
It wasn't the actual being upset with you that I was upset about. It was the whole situation that my mother was involved in a very serious trial where she was raped. That's what I was staying up thinking about.
Right, you were staying up that she's alleging that she was raped, and that you saw her testimony, and she appeared from all what you watched to be not reliable because she in fact lied to the jury,
Objection,
correct?
misstates the evidence and argumentative.
Sustained, you can rephrase.
Okay, you were upset because your mom's testimony, or at least the commentary you saw, had been termed unreliable. Isn't that true?
Yes.
And you were upset because at least a couple of the commentators indicated that she'd been caught in a lie. Isn't that true?
Objection, asked and answered.
Sustained.
Yes.
Those are the
Well, just a
motivated.
moment, you don't need.
Oh, sorry.
So you didn't need to answer. That last answer will be stricken. Next question.
Those are the motivating factors that caused you to pick up a phone just last week on a Thursday, whenever it was. You called the DA's office, right?
Yes, because I had information about the STD testing and I did not hear anything about that.
By the way, I sent my investigator over to talk to you, or to contact you to do an interview with you yesterday. Remember that?
Yes, he called me at like 8 p.m.
Right. And he asked you, hey, we're just trying to find the truth. We want to talk to you. And you refused to speak to my investigator.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
He had all weekend to call me or come see me, and he calls me at 8 p.m. when I'm getting ready to go to bed. Yeah, no, I was not going to speak with him. I'm sorry.
You refused to speak to the defense investigator, yes or no?
Yes.
All right. You actually went over to the DA's office, or did they go to you?
I came to the DA's office,
Yeah.
yes.
You got in a car and you drove yourself to the prosecution's office, correct?
Yes.
And you gave your version of events to Mr. Owens and his investigators,
Yes.
right? And then a simple phone call where you're at your house, well, we ask you to talk to us, and you choose not to. Do
Correct.
you remember what you said to the investigator?
I said to him that he could hear what I had to say in court.
And the investigator told you, we're just trying to find the truth. Remember that?
I don't remember that, but yes.
You just basically shut him down.
Yes, I did.
One moment, Your Honor.
All right. All right. Redirect, and I will allow inquiry as to whether or not she's expecting at this point based on cross. So you can go ahead.
Thank you. Are you?
Yes.
Is that why you were home last week?
Yes.
In part, at least.
Yeah.
Now, I just have some very limited questions. On Thursday of last week, did I inform you that based upon the fact that you had come forward and been interviewed by a district attorney investigator that I had to provide your contact information to the defense team and their investigator?
Yes, you did.
After we met on Friday morning of last week, did you in fact say that you preferred to meet at our office for your own privacy?
Yes, I did.
And did you come down and meet with me and my investigator in a conference room?
Yes, I did.
And do you recall on Friday when I informed you that the defense investigator would have your address and be able to contact you if they chose?
Yes.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. Any recross based on that? All right, can this witness be excused?
Yes, you may.
All right, thank you very much. Ms. Foster, you are excused. Have a nice day. Thank you very much. Next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. If I could check the hallway just
All
one
right.
moment.
All right.
If I can have you raise your right hand. You do solemnly state that the testimony you are about to give in the matter now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If you would, please have a seat at the witness stand. If you would, please state your name and spell your first and last name for the record.
My name is Elizabeth Winters. It's Elizabeeth. Last name Winters, Winters.
Thank you.
All right, good morning, Ms. Winters.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here. I can already tell you have a very soft voice, so I'm going to ask you to scoot the seat forward and pull that microphone forward, the top one there. And please make sure you keep your voice up. I'll turn your mic up as far as I can, but the juror at the far end of the jury box, which is pretty far away, needs to be able to hear everything you say. Okay?
Okay.
All right, direct examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Winters.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming to court. Can you tell us what part of town, not the specific address, what part of town do you live in?
It's considered the San Carlos area of San Diego.
And where would that be in relation to freeways, for example?
You can get on the 125 from there really easily. And the 52 is north of us and the 8 is south of us.
In terms of your neighborhood, are you pretty familiar with the surrounding area and the vehicles that may be associated with your neighbors?
Yes.
On June 14th of 2018, did two San Diego Sheriff's Department detectives come to your home and talk to you?
Yes,
Did they ask you questions about a vehicle that was in the neighborhood?
they did.
Do you remember seeing a car that didn't seem to belong in your neighborhood?
Once they mentioned the car, I said yes, I had noticed it, and it didn't seem familiar to me.
What type of vehicle was it?
It's a Hummer.
Do you remember what color it was?
It was dark. It's been almost a year, so I'm not 100% sure, but it was a dark vehicle.
And do you remember telling the detectives when you first saw the vehicle, first noticed it in your neighborhood?
I don't recall exactly what I said, but I do remember like that at the time I had noticed it very specifically because the school year was ending and we had a lot of unusual people, like family visiting for 5th grade, graduation ceremonies and things like that. So I just kind of noticed it and thought perhaps that's why it was there.
Did you tell them the day that you had first noticed that it was there? Do you recall?
I think it had been there for a day or two. I don't recall exactly at this time.
And that would be as of June 14th when you were speaking to the detectives?
Is that a yes?
Yes.
All right.
Had you in fact lived in that neighborhood for approximately 20 years?
Yes.
And had you ever seen that vehicle in that neighborhood before?
No.
When you were speaking to the detectives, were you present when they in fact impounded the vehicle?
I did see that out my window, yes.
Okay. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, Cross?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Winters, the Hummer, it was parked legally on the street, right?
Yes.
that a yes?
Sorry, yes.
Okay.
You didn't call the police regarding this vehicle, did you?
I did not.
It was just a vehicle parked legally on the street, right?
Correct.
The police approached you and asked you about that vehicle, right?
Right, they knocked on my door.
Okay. And you don't keep track of all the vehicles that are in or about your neighborhood, do you?
I know which ones are my neighbors' vehicles,
Right.
and we have a lot of school traffic because I live across from an elementary school.
Right.
So I notice it. I mean, I've got young kids, so I kind of keep an eye, but I don't make note or record or call the police on unless they were doing something, like blocking my driveway or something like that.
This vehicle wasn't blocking your driveway?
No, it's in
And you
front of
don't-
my house.
And you don't keep track of your neighbors' friends and visitors' vehicles, do you?
Not unless they're there for an extended period of time.
Right. So you know that there's a vehicle parked in your neighborhood, legally parked,
Yes,
and the police came and talked to you about it.
yes.
Nothing further.
All right, anything further?
No, thank you.
Can this witness be excused?
She may.
Yes?
Yes.
All right, thank you, Ms. Winters. Have a nice day. Next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The people now call Jane Doe number 4.
All right. Again, the media is ordered not to photograph Jane Doe number 4's face, either still or with motion cameras. All right, bring her in. Okay.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Sure.
Ma'am, if I could ask you to raise your right hand. You do solemnly state that the testimony you are about to give in the matter now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. You may be seated. And if I could ask of Deputy DA Owens, the person sitting at the witness stand is indeed Jane Doe number 4?
She is.
Thank you.
All right. Good morning, ma'am. I'm going to ask you to scoot your seat forward and pull that tall microphone down
This one.
and maybe pull it closer to you if you can.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask you to make sure you keep your voice up.
Okay.
All right, so all the jurors in the jury box all the way at the very end can hear you.
Okay.
And I've already turned the microphone up, so just make sure you keep your voice up, okay?
Okay.
Now, as you know, you're going to be referred to as Jane Doe number 4.
Okay.
Nobody will use your true name, and the cameras that are in the courtroom have been ordered not to display images of your face.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
Not.
All right. Well, the attorneys are going to start with their questioning now. Mr. Owens, direct examination.
Okay.
Thank you, Your
And
Honor.
look, if you ever need to take a break, just let me know.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Owens.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Jane Doe number 4.
Good morning.
I'm going to refer to you possibly as Ms. Doe during the course of your testimony. I apologize for the, if that makes you uncomfortable in any way.
Okay.
Now, how old are you as of today?
I am 33.
Where do you live? Without giving the specific address, but generally speaking, where do you live?
In Jacksonville, North Carolina.
Are you married?
Yes.
What does your husband do?
He is a Marine. He is in the aviation field.
Are you stationed there with the Marine Corps currently?
Yes. Yes.
Do you have any children?
I do.
How many children do you have?
I have 2.
What are their ages?
1 and 3.
Now, in terms of where you've lived over the course of your life, at some point, did you live in the San Diego area?
I did.
Did you move out of the San Diego area after high school?
Yes.
Where did you move?
Hawaii.
And after being in Hawaii, is that where you met your husband?
Yes.
Being a military wife, have you moved around a lot?
Yes.
In terms of where you lived in high school, first, what high school did you go to?
I went to 2 different high schools. I went to Mount Carmel and Escondido High School.
When you were a senior in high school, or your last year here in California, what high school were you going to?
Escondido High School.
So, in terms of when you were in Escondido High School, can I just take a moment?
Yes.
Sorry.
All right. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. When you were at Escondido High School, did you still stay friends with people that you had met who went to Mount Carmel or other high schools in the area?
Yes.
Now, when was it that you moved to Hawaii in relation to your senior year?
July of 2003.
How old were you in June of 2003?
17.
Had you already planned to move to Hawaii that summer?
Yes.
What was the reason that you would be moving to Hawaii that summer?
I was behind a semester in my senior year, and because I would be turning 18 over the summer, the Escondido district stated that I would have to go to adult education and get my GED, and I wanted my diploma. So my mom suggested me going to stay with family in Hawaii.
Is that what you ended up doing in July 2003?
Yes,
So in terms of the last year that you were physically here in California, is it fair to say that was the spring semester 2003?
yes,
And during that time frame, did you ever meet a person who you came to know by the name of Kellen Winslow?
yes,
Do you see Mr. Winslow in court?
yes.
Where is he seated and what is he wearing for the record?
He's wearing a gray suit and glasses.
All right, with the yellowish tie?
I can only see the monitor.
Okay, that's right. Okay, so he has glasses on. All right, the record will reflect identification of the defendant.
Thank you, Your
Yes.
Honor. How did you first meet Mr. Winslow?
Through mutual friends at a party,
Where was this party when you first met him?
a Scripps Ridge.
Can you just describe the party as best you can? I know it's been some time, but when you first met him, just describe the location and what was going on.
So it's just a house party, high school kids hanging out in somebody's home.
And you mentioned it was in the Scripps Ranch area. Do you remember what type of house it was when you first met him?
It was like a ranch house, just one-story home.
About how many people would you say were at the party?
More than 20, I would like to say.
Were you drinking that night?
No.
On the night that you first met Mr. Winslow, who were the mutual friends, if you remember what their names were?
So Nikki Edwards, Chris Rios, and Mel John Sebastian.
And
Yeah.
the person that you mentioned is Nikki Edwards. Is that Nicole Edwards?
Yes.
Does she go by the nickname Nikki?
Yes.
And the other person you mentioned was Chris. Do you recall his last name?
Rios.
And you mentioned another male. What was his name?
Mel John.
Can you spell that?
Meljohn.
And on that time when you first met him, how is it that you knew these mutual friends?
Well, Nikki, I went to school with at Mount Carmel before going to Escondido High School, so we had been friends since freshman year. She was seeing Mel John at the time, or talking, and Mel John's sister was the one that was dating Chris Rios.
And did you know Mel John or Chris very well?
No.
Was Nicole or Nikki the person who was kind of the mutual friend in common?
Yes.
And how was it that you were introduced to Mr. Winslow that night?
He was hanging out with Chris Rios and Mel John.
And was that the first time you had ever actually seen him?
Yes.
Did you know anything about him when you met him that night?
No.
Did you know what school he went to?
No.
Did you know if he was in high school or college?
No.
How was it that you were introduced to him?
We were all just standing around and saying hi, who are you? Just mutual introduction.
Do you remember if he introduced himself to you?
I don't remember.
So then tell us what happened after you first met him that night at the party with about 20 people there.
We were all just hanging out, chit-chatting, drinking, just talking and having fun, hanging out with people.
Now, initially you said that you hadn't been drinking. Was that at the time that you had first met Mr. Winslow?
Yeah, I hadn't been drinking. Nicole and I know Mel John had been drinking.
Later into the evening, do you remember if you had any alcohol?
No, I did not.
After you guys were hanging out at this, the first house party, what happened?
We ended up going to one of Chris and Kellen's friend's house
And do you remember what part of town that was in?
Scripps.
Do you remember what month this was that you first met Kellen at this party, this first night?
In June.
And was it towards the end of the school year?
Yes.
And was there any particular occasion for this this first party that you met him at?
I believe it was a graduation party. we would all hear about certain people's graduation parties, but not necessarily know who the person was.
When you would make plans to go out for the evening, would you basically just go look for whatever party you could find as a high schooler?
Yeah.
And as you were leaving this first party, you mentioned you were going to a house that Mr. Winslow and Chris knew of, is that right?
Correct.
Did Miss Edwards, Nikki Edwards, did she go with you?
Yes.
Can you tell us if you remember how you got from the first party to the next house?
We were in Nikki's vehicle and we just followed them.
Do you remember what type of car Nikki drove?
She drove a Ford Explorer.
And when you say that you followed them, who is it that you and Nikki followed?
Me and Nikki and Mel John was in the car with us, followed Chris and Kellen. And I don't know who else was in the car with them.
And what type of place did you go to after you followed them?
To somebody's 2-story home.
Was that also in Scripps Ranch?
Correct.
Did you know whose home it was?
I did not.
When you got there, was anybody present?
Yes.
How many people would you say were at this second home that you went to?
A handful.
A smaller gathering maybe than the first party?
Yes.
Would you characterize it as an after party?
Correct.
What time in the evening would you say this was approximately?
Past 11 o'clock at night.
When you and Nikki got there, do you remember where you went?
We were hanging out, I want to say in like the living room. We were just sitting around, hanging out.
Who was there in the living room when you were hanging out?
Me, Nikki, Mel John, Chris, Kellen. I don't know who else the other people were.
Do you remember any of the names of the other people who were present?
His friend Matt,
And when you say his friend, who are you referring to?
Kellen.
Can you just describe your interactions with Kellen over the course of the night from when you first met him now to the point where you're hanging out in the living room?
Just, I want to say like light flirting, like, you know, sitting close, nudging each other, just kind of being silly, flirty teenagers.
When you had met him, did you think he was attractive?
Yes.
When you say that you were flirty, were you being flirtatious with him?
Not initially.
Was he being flirtatious with you?
Yes.
Once he had started to be flirtatious with you, did you respond?
Yes.
Is that what you mean by not initially?
Yes.
So when you say that you were being flirtatious, what were you doing?
Just nudging back, you know, like leaning in, not anything like, hey, we should blah, blah, blah. Just, you know, kind of being nudgy and touchy, like with my arm.
Were there other people around when you were hanging out in the living room doing that?
Yes.
What happened after you started with this initial being flirty?
I don't know the specific words or how it came to, but me and him ended up walking upstairs to a bedroom.
Did you go on your own free will?
Yes.
Did you decide you wanted to go upstairs with him?
Yes.
Tell us what happened when you went upstairs with him.
We started making out. Clothes started to be removed. We were kissing, touching, starting to have sex, and the door opened.
When you say that we were starting to have sex, did you actually begin to have sex with Mr. Winslow?
Yes.
Does that mean penile vaginal intercourse?
Yes.
Were you basically hooking up with somebody you had just met?
Yes.
Now, after that happened, the door opening, what do you remember seeing?
His friend Matt walking in.
And the friend Matt, did you know that person from before?
No.
Had you ever seen him before?
No.
Other than seeing him at the this after party, the house that you were at, was he at the previous party, if you know?
Not that I remember.
What happened after Matt walked into the bedroom?
He walked in as if he was grabbing something and just closed the door behind him, and I was like covering myself. And I was like, well, like, what's going on? And Kellen says he's just gonna watch. And I said, I'm not okay with that.
What happened after you told Kellen that you weren't okay with Matt being in the room and watching?
He was like, it's gonna be fine, he's just watching. I told him, no, I'm not okay with it. So I was starting to grab my clothes to put them back on, and I just wanted to get out of the room.
Were you upset?
Yes,
What happened, or in terms of Matt, was he still present in the room when you were having this conversation with Kellen, if you remember?
yes,
Who left the room first?
Matt did.
And after you told Kellen that you were uncomfortable with it, did he try to continue to have sex with you?
He said, are you gonna let me finish? I said no.
And what happened after that?
He said fine, and I put my clothes back on, and I went back downstairs.
Can you describe his demeanor when you told him that you were not gonna let him finish?
He just was like, okay, and like just pushed back, just like away from me.
Who left the room first between you and Mr. Winslow?
I did.
Do you remember where you went?
I went back downstairs.
Where downstairs did you go after this initial upstairs moment with Mr. Winslow?
Back into the living room where Nikki was.
Where was Nikki in relation to the living room? What was she doing?
She was sitting on the couch.
Do you remember who else was there?
I don't.
So what did you do when you saw Nikki on the couch?
I sat down next to her.
Can you describe your demeanor at that point?
Just like annoyed and wanting to leave.
When you say that you were wanting to leave, what did you say, if anything?
I just asked Nikki, could we go?
How did she respond, if you know?
She just looked at me like, why? Could we just go?
How long would you say you had been at this second house that first night?
From the beginning or from less than an hour?
Now, when you told Nikki that you wanted to go, what did she do?
She was like, okay, we'll go, we'll leave.
Did you?
Yes,
Did you say anything else to Mr. Winslow that night?
no,
Do you remember if he was downstairs when you and Nikki left?
I don't remember.
Did you say anything to anybody else before you left?
No,
Did Nikki appear to be confused?
yes,
When you left that night, where did you go?
we went back to Nicole's house.
Did you sleep there?
Yes,
Did you talk to her at all, if you remember, about what happened?
no, I just told her I just was not okay, and that was it.
Now, was Ms. Edwards, Nikki, was she in the living room when you and Kellen left together to go upstairs?
Yes,
Would she have seen that you and Kellen went upstairs together?
yes,
Would she have seen when you came back down by yourself?
yes,
Now, after that first night when you met Mr. Winslow, did you see him again?
yes.
Approximately how much time passed before you saw Mr. Winslow again after this first night?
Like 2 weeks.
Did you have any communication with him, phone calls or text messages at all?
I did not.
And if the first night was in June of 2003, when was the second night? Do you recall
In June as well,
do you remember what day of the week it was?
a Friday.
Do you recall the specific date?
I want to say the 20th.
And in terms of when that happened, did you actually speak with the district attorney's investigators at your home in North Carolina last July?
Yes,
And when we were sitting down and discussing the time frames, did you use a calendar to refresh your recollection of when you first met him and when the second interaction you had with him was?
yes,
Now, is that how you arrived at the date of June 20th based on your best recollection?
yes,
Now, the second night, had you talked to anybody about what happened with Mr. Winslow the first night?
no,
Did you have any interaction with him at all?
no.
Where were you when you saw him on June 20th of 2003?
We were at a graduation party in Scripps Ranch.
Was it a similar situation to the first time you had met him?
Yes,
Do you remember, was it at the same house or a different one?
A different home.
How was it that you had come to know that there was going to be a party at this home on June 20th?
A lot of us teenagers would hang out at Jack in the Box in Mira Mesa and kind of like wait around until somebody got a phone call to where they would hear a party was or who could go to certain parties, and that's where we found out about this party in Scripps.
When you were at the Jack in the Box and you were waiting to hear where a party might be, who was there with you, if you remember?
Me and Nicole.
Were you and Nicole typically a pair? You would be going out together?
Yes.
When you were at the Jack in the Box, did you catch word that there was a party?
She did, yes.
So what did you do?
We got into her car and drove to whatever directions that were given to her.
Did other people that were at the Jack in the Box also go?
Yes.
This party that you were at on June 20th, how many people would you say were there?
About 20 people, at least 20.
That night, when you got to this party, were you drinking any alcohol?
Yes.
Do you remember how many, or what you were drinking, first of all?
I was drinking beer.
Do you remember what type of beer?
No.
Where did you get the beer?
There was a keg at the home.
Do you remember how many beers that you would have drank while you were at this house in Scripps Ranch?
I want to say like 2 or 3.
Can I ask you first how tall you were maybe in June of 2003?
5'2",
And how much did you weigh when you were 17 back in 2003?
92 pounds.
After having those 3 beers, did you start to feel the effects of alcohol at all?
Not like instantly as if I were taking a shot or anything, but like gradually I was feeling buzzed.
How much time would you say you spent at this house party in Scripps Ranch when you had first gotten there?
It was less than an hour.
Do you recall whether or not you saw any mutual friends of yours and Kellen's that night?
We saw Chris.
And was Chris actually at that party?
Yes.
Did you ever see Kellen that night?
Yes.
Where was he?
With Chris.
Was this the same Chris who had been there two weeks prior?
Yes.
Now, how was it, if you know, how was it that Nikki knew Chris, if at all?
I'm sorry?
Did you know if Nikki knew Chris?
She did know Chris.
Do you know how she knew Chris?
She knew Chris through Mel John.
And Mel John would be the person that she was talking to or seeing at the time?
Yes.
Now, was Mel John there this second night?
No.
And what happened when you saw Kellen at this party?
Well, as we were leaving, they were coming up and had saw us, so we like waved them down.
When you say we were leaving, who are you referring to?
Me and Nicole.
And when you and Nicole were leaving this party, who was it that you saw that you waved down?
We saw Chris.
And was he with Mr.
He was
Winslow?
with Mr. Winslow.
Tell us what happened after you waved at Mr. Winslow.
So we waved at Chris. Chris had told Kellen and their friend Matt to come. They walked towards us and asked us what was going on.
And can you just tell us what plans you guys made once you had that initial conversation?
So we were leaving because there were police. We were told that there were police showing up to the party to shut it down.
Is that something that would happen on occasion when you were in high school?
Yes.
Where were you planning to go when you and Nicole were leaving?
We weren't sure yet.
When you saw this group of guys, including Mr. Winslow, did you make any plans to go to another location?
We asked each other where we were thinking of going, but weren't sure. But we knew we needed to leave, so we said, let's meet at a gas station.
Did you do that?
Yes.
How did you get to the gas station?
Me and Nikki and Chris got into her Ford Explorer.
Do you remember where you were sitting in relation in that Ford Explorer?
The front seat. The passenger front seat.
And who drove?
Nicole.
And you had said you had had 3 beers. Did you have any other alcohol prior to leaving that party?
I did not.
What happened after you and Chris and Nikki got into her Ford Explorer?
We drove to a gas station.
Where were Matt and Kellen, if you know?
In a car following us, or a vehicle following us.
Do you remember what type of car it was that they were in?
They were in a SUV,
What color it was?
a black SUV.
And did you remember, or do you remember who was driving?
I believe Kellen was.
Where did you go?
We went to a Shell gas station.
What did you do once you got to the gas station?
We got out. Nikki was fueling her vehicle and Kellen was fueling his. Me, Chris, and Matt were going back and forth. We were like parked next to each other. So going back and forth and just chit-chatting with one another like, hey, have you heard anything? Do you know where we could go next? Things like that.
Fair to say that this was a second staging area trying to figure out a new party to go to?
Yes,
Just like at the Jack in the Box?
correct.
When you were sitting there and you were chit-chatting, did you talk to Mr. Winslow at all about where he went to school or anything like that?
No,
And if we're 2 weeks removed from when you had first met him and had that interaction in the bedroom upstairs, were you being flirtatious with him at all on this night?
no,
Was he being flirtatious with you at all?
no.
Tell us what happened once you were at the gas station and you were trying to figure out where to go next.
So Kellen stated that they knew of a house party, and we said, okay, well, let's just go. Chris then received a phone call from his girlfriend, Joanna, and she was getting into a fight at another party and wanted to go there to make sure that she was okay.
So what happened when Chris had received this phone call and was going to go to a different location from where Kellen had suggested you go?
Chris asked Nikki or Nicole if we could go there, and Nicole said yeah.
What did you do?
I was talking with Kellen and Matt and everybody pretty much. All of us were standing there. And I said, I'm going to hop in with them and just meet you guys at the party, at the new house party that Kellen was speaking of.
Did you think that Nikki and Chris were going to actually meet you back at that next house party that Kellen had suggested?
Yes,
After they went to go see what was happening with Joanna?
yes,
Did you ride with Mr. Winslow in his vehicle?
I did.
And you mentioned that that was a black SUV of some sort. Do you recall what specific type of vehicle it was?
I don't remember.
Show you what's been marked for identification as Court's Exhibit 4, and I would alert the media to the display, Your Honor.
All right, you can publish court exhibit number 4.
May I approach?
Yes.
Do you recognize this photograph?
I do.
Can you just tell us what that's a photograph of?
That is a picture of me and Kellen in the vehicle he was driving that night.
Do you remember who took this picture?
Nicole.
When you were in high school, would you and Nicole take pictures regularly of your nights out?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, yes.
Yes.
You can hand me that exhibit.
Okay, thank you.
So Ms. Doe, did you in fact keep this picture afterwards?
I did.
Do you remember what time in the evening or when in the evening you took it?
At the gas station. I don't remember the time that it was.
And that picture of Mr. Winslow, was he seated in the vehicle that you rode in that night?
Yes.
What type of camera was this picture taken on?
One of those turn cameras. So it's one of those disposable cameras.
And if Nicole took the picture, was it your camera or hers, if you remember?
It was mine.
Did you develop the photos?
I did.
Did you keep this photo?
I did.
Why is it that you kept this picture?
Checks and balances.
Overruled. You can answer.
Sorry. To remind myself that anything's possible, that somebody can harm you, thinking that there may have been one misunderstanding.
the time that this picture was taken, did you feel like you were safe with Mr. Winslow?
I did.
Can you tell us what happened after you got into his car and left the gas station?
We drove, I don't know exactly where, I just know it was in the Scripps area. We drove to a townhome.
And when you got to this townhome, do you remember how many people were there, if any?
There wasn't anybody there.
When you say we drove from the gas station to the townhome, who was in the vehicle, if you remember?
Me, Kellen, and Matt.
And who drove?
Kellen,
Where did you sit?
the front seat, the front passenger seat.
Is it fair to say Matt was in the back seat?
Yes.
Can you tell us what happened when you first got to this townhome?
I don't remember walking into the home. I do remember being in the bathroom, washing my hands, and trying to sober up.
Were you feeling the effects of the alcohol that you had drank?
Yes.
Do you recall drinking anything other than the 3 beers you had at the first party you were at?
No.
Did you have anything to drink during the car ride from the gas station to this townhome?
No.
Do you remember if Matt or Kellen were drinking anything in the car ride to the townhome?
No.
Were they, or do you not remember?
I don't remember.
Now, in terms of what you recall happening when you were at the townhome, why did you go to the restroom?
Because I felt the need to put some water on my face, drink some water, use the restroom, kind of get it together because I was feeling the effects of the beer.
Did you feel drunk at that point?
Yes.
Now, once you had gotten to the townhome, other than Matt and Kellen, did you see anybody else?
No.
After being in the bathroom, or let me ask you, when you were in the bathroom, what happened?
Kellen knocked on the door and told me to hurry up.
What did you do when you heard him knock on the door and say, hurry up?
I finished washing my hands and opened the door.
Where did you go?
To the couch. I don't remember walking to the couch, I just remember sitting on the couch.
Where were Matt and Kellen, if you know?
In the kitchen.
And do you actually recall what they were doing in the kitchen?
No.
What do you remember happening when you were sitting on the couch?
I just remember looking at the fabric. I just remember looking at the color of the couch.
And what happened after you were looking at the fabric on the couch?
I opened my eyes and my face was being pushed into Matt's groin area.
Prior to that memory of opening your eyes, do you know what happened while you were on the couch down in the downstairs area of the townhome?
No.
Do you know if you fell asleep?
No.
Were you conscious between when you were on the couch to when you felt yourself being pushed into Matt's groin area?
No.
Do you know how you got from the couch to the place where your face was being pushed in Matt's groin area?
No.
Where were you when you woke up to that, or when you came to?
Is it a bedroom? On a bed?
Do you remember if that was upstairs or downstairs?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Do you know how you got from the couch to the bedroom being on a bed?
No.
When you say that your face was being pushed into Matt's groin area, who was pushing you?
Kellen.
How was Mr. Winslow pushing you into Matt's groin area?
From behind.
Do you remember what part of his body he was using to push your face into Matt's area?
His hand.
Where was he pushing you with his hand?
His hand was on the back of my head.
And Your Honor, for the record, she's taken her right hand and placed it on the back of her head with an open palm pressing downward.
The record will still reflect.
Excuse me, Your Honor, can we have exhibit 4 taken down, it's not being used?
All right, we can black out that exhibit.
Thank you.
Next question.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, what was Kellen doing at the time that he was pressing your head towards Matt's groin area?
He was penetrating me from behind.
Was he having sex with you?
Yes.
Was he having sex with you at the time that you regained consciousness?
Yes.
And I'm sorry to ask you, but how was it that he was having sex with you? Where?
He was, I'm sorry, what's,
What part of his body was penetrating what part of your body?
his penis was penetrating my vagina.
When you were on the bed, you mentioned that he was doing this from behind, is that right?
Yes.
Was Matt lying on the bed?
Yes.
When you say that Kellen was having sex with you from behind, pushing your head towards Matt's groin, was Matt's penis exposed?
Yes.
Did he have his pants off?
Yes.
Did you have any memory prior to waking up to this happening?
No.
What was Matt doing?
Matt was just laying there with his legs open.
Were you facing him?
Yes.
What was Kellen saying, if anything, at that point?
I don't remember. I can't, the only thing it's just my view. I don't hear anything.
What did you do when you regained consciousness and felt Mr. Winslow doing this to you?
I'm telling him to stop.
Did you actually say that out loud?
Yes.
Do you remember what you said when you were telling him to stop?
Just stop. Just stop.
Did you become upset?
Yes.
Were you crying? If you know?
Yes.
Was he being forceful with you?
Yes.
How was he holding you, if at all, while he was having sex with you from behind?
He was holding on to my hair. And I'm pushing with both of my hands against his thighs to stop. And I just keep telling him to stop.
All right, the record will reflect the witness put both of her hands on each side of her body with her palms facing backwards, about even with her waist, and pushing in the backwards motion with both hands.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next question.
When you were telling him to stop and pressing your hands against his thighs, were you trying to make him stop having sex with you?
Yes.
Did he continue to penetrate you vaginally with his penis from behind?
Yes.
Do you remember if he said anything while you were telling him to stop?
No.
What did Matt do as you were telling Kellen, Mr. Winslow, to stop and pushing against him?
Matt got up. I was telling him to just stop. And then Kellen flipped me onto my back.
When you say that Kellen flipped you onto his back, how did he do that?
He turned me over. So he turns me over, I don't know which way, but I'm now laying on my back on the bed.
If you were 5'2" and 92 pounds in June of 2003, was he bigger than you?
Yes.
How tall would you say he was?
Like 6 foot? Or taller?
Was he strong?
Yes.
Was it easy for him to flip you from being facing downwards to being on your back?
Objection. Speculation.
Overruled, you can answer.
Yes.
After he flipped you onto your back, were you lying on the bed?
Yes.
Had you been telling him no during this time?
Yes.
After Matt got up and you heard him tell Kellen to stop, is that when Kellen flipped you onto your back?
Yes.
What happened after he did that?
I kept telling him to stop, and then I turned my head to the left. Because somebody was there holding a camera.
based on your best memory, do you recall seeing somebody holding a camera inside the bedroom when this happened?
When I initially came to, no.
When you're saying that you looked to the left when you were lying on your back, do you remember seeing a camera?
Yes.
Do you know if Matt was still in the room?
No.
What did Kellen do after he had put you onto your back?
He kept going and I just kept saying, stop, just stop.
And you're taking both your hands and you've crossed them into an X in front of your chest. And you're pushing it outward.
I'm sorry.
And you're pushing your arms outward, is that right?
Yes.
The record will still reflect that that's what she was doing on the witness stand. Next question.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Do you need some water or anything?
Did you continue to tell him to stop?
Yes.
When you say that he kept doing it, what was he doing?
He was still having sex with me.
Now that he's having sex with you, are you facing each other?
Yes.
What happened after he continued having sex with you as you were on your back?
He stops.
Do you know why he stopped?
Cause Matt,
Objection, speculation.
Overruled. You can continue.
cause Matt told him to stop, just stop.
After Matt told him to stop, did Kellen finally stop having sex with you?
Yes.
Did he say anything to you when he stopped?
No.
What happened after you saw Matt telling Mr. Winslow to stop?
Kellen gets off of me and moves to my right. And then I see somebody else standing behind him. That wasn't Matt.
Did Kellen leave the room?
Yes.
What happened after Kellen left the room?
Matt started to help me get dressed.
After Matt started to help you get dressed, did Kellen come back into the room at all?
He looked, I don't know if he came in fully, but I know he came back. And he says, she's just a stupid bitch. And then closes the door.
Do you know if he was talking to you or talking to Matt?
I don't know.
Did you
Is
see?
this a good point to take a break, or?
Yeah, it can be. Thank you.
Okay, all right, it's 10:30, it's time to take our mid-morning recess. We're gonna be in recess for, let's say 20 minutes, all right? Please remember the admonition, don't discuss the case with anybody, we'll see you back here in 20 minutes. My understanding is council have reached the stipulation, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, is that correct, Mr. Owens?
Yes, Your Honor, if they're referencing the one that we exchanged last night, and I'm sure that we'll be able to answer that situation.
Okay, why don't you both work it out and talk, and then the court will accept the stipulation whenever you want to present it, all right?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, we're in recess.